Are you betting the over 2.5 goals and you're still getting dull 1-0 score lines? You're not alone. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share 5 proven ideas that savvy Betfair traders are using to do well on the Betfair exchange right now and uncover heavy goal scoring fixtures without memorizing rigid rules, which I think is where a lot of Betfair traders get stuck. Stick with me and you'll see why these concepts work and how our Betfair Trading Community software helps turn them into an edge. I'm Martin from Betfair Trading Community, and over the years we've helped thousands of traders just like yourselves become better at Betfair trading. We've been working on models like this for more than 10 years, and the biggest loss maker we see is people copying cookie cutter filters and not really having a clue why they work. In a moment I'll reveal the silent trap that ruins most over 2.5 goal strategies and how thinking in ideas instead of hard rules can keep you out of getting stuck in that rut and that loop. I'm going to run through some ideas now, okay? And we're going to talk about these more in depth as we go on. Number 1, idea 1, momentum metrics. You probably overlooked. Idea 2, market psychology and why price tells you a story. Number 3, style of play clashes that explode into goals. Number 4, game state and timing, cues that can boost your value. And number 5, automating your research. We can do this luckily inside the betfairtradingcommunity.com software, and it makes it really easy for you. So stay tuned, because after these, I'll expose the trap that wipes out traders who rely on these copy and paste cookie cutter systems, and the reason why tipsters and things, which you've all probably tried, don't really work. So the first thing I want you to do is kind of open your mind and expand. And when you're trading overs, try and look beyond raw goal averages as the only thing you're looking at. You know, shots on target, XG, and even corners show attacking intent before they actually translate into goals. When both sides generate pressure, the probability of 3 goals obviously skyrockets, but miss this and you're judging teams based on last week's scoreline instead of this week's firepower, okay? Odds are a living poll. When over 2.5 opens short and drifts slightly, it often signals early caution and value later on. Understanding why prices move, team news, weather, public sentiment lets you step in when the crowd panics and value can appear. Here's where we talk a little bit about a clash of styles. So a possession dominant side versus a rapid counter-attacking team can often produce chaotic end-to-end football. Styles that conflict, so high press versus long ball or high defensive line versus pace, create mistakes, space, and ultimately goals. So a match that really signified this and kind of shows this theory to be correct is the Inter Milan versus Barcelona Champions League game. So as I'm recording this, the second leg's happening tonight, so this will probably be a few weeks down the line that this goes out, but basically the first leg was 3-3. okay, now you could see from watching that match, Inter had quite a high line, Barcelona had a really high line, right? Inter were kind of letting Barcelona have the ball. Barcelona like to have possession. They like to attack, get on the front foot, and they were creating chances that way. But as soon as Barcelona lost the ball in midfield, Inter quite often could get forward with 1 or 2 passes and being on goal because of that high line and the fact they like to counter-attack in games like this. And you'll often see them set up this way. Now, I don't know how tonight will go. It might become a little bit tighter because of the kind of game it is and how important the second leg will ultimately be. But keep an eye on matches like that. One of the best ways to look at these things is to look at the start of the game and go, okay, how has this set up? I can see tactically here, this is going to be quite an open game. And it was quite obvious early on there were going to be goals in that Barcelona-Inter match. And there were 6, right? Which is really uncommon for a Champions League semi-final. But it's something that's worth looking for, because you can often tell in the first few minutes of a match that is going to be the case based on the tactics, the setups that the teams like to use. So look at those conflicting styles, because they create, like we say, pace, mistakes, and ultimately goals. Matches tied to 1 goal apart near half time often open up as the training side chases the game. Okay, tracking live stats, tempo, yellow cards, substitution tells you when that explosion is brewing. Okay, long before the market reacts. And you'll see this a lot when there's a team who were a favourite before the match who are 1-0 down. They will start to try and pile on the pressure. Or you'll see it when a team goes down to 10 men and they're defending a lead. The other team will often pile on the pressure. The key is to watch in those situations and decide whether or not there will be a goal based on what you're seeing in front of you. And often, if there is that constant pressure, there is a goal. And how many times have you watched matches thinking, oh, this team's really getting on top here, then a couple of minutes later they score? Those are the kinds of opportunities. If you're looking for goals in football matches, especially on over 2.5, they're the kinds of opportunities you want to take advantage of, okay? Now, you want to have a good shortlist to work with for your selections, for your strategies, and this is where automating those shortlists with BTC software comes into play. So, dumping this research into our Betfair Trading Community Strategy Builder means you can scan hundreds of fixtures in seconds, tag momentum metrics, look at different things like how many goals they score on average, what's the XG, what's the shots on target, all these different metrics. You can combine it and it will automatically generate your short list of games that hit your criteria each day, whatever that criteria may be. And this helps to actually give you a bit of an edge on the market here, because it's not when you've got time. It's, wow, I've already got a ready-made shortlist. Okay, now I can do some further research. Maybe I want to find out if the top strikers are missing. Maybe I want to find out if there's some injuries, right? Things that can affect the game state. Maybe you want to watch the first 10, 15 minutes. Well, you know which games to watch now. You know which stats to look at that night. Looking at hundreds of games can be very difficult. When you've got a list of 4 or 5 matches that really interest you, it's so much easier to watch the live stats in play. I mean, you can go on sites like Bet365 and do that, and it's very simple and it's absolutely brilliant. Now, as you can see, I'm going to head over to the screen here and you can have a little look at it. Well, it's been here the whole time. Here's a strategy. So this isn't one I've created saying, oh, this strategy is brilliant, blah, blah, blah. I thought it would actually be more interesting today because I quite often just share those strategies with you as we go in these YouTube videos. I thought it would be interesting to talk a bit more about ideas. So look at this situation here. What have I intentionally done with this strategy? Well, let's have a look. You've got 1.7 Betfair odds, okay, for over 2.5 goals. You've got 8 matches played, which means we've got some decent data for that season already. And then you've got over 2.5, 60% plus. So we're in a situation here where we're saying they have over 2.5 goals, nearly 2 out of 3 matches, right, which would be odds around 1.5. Okay, 60% is a bit higher, around 1.6. But we're looking for games where the odds are 1.7 plus. We're looking for value here, right? That's essentially what we're looking for. We're looking for matches where we can go, okay, they're giving us decent odds, but the record's showing these teams do have over 2.5 quite a lot. When you get a shortlist on something like this, I think it often is the first step to getting value. Now, just using a filter straight like this is not going to be enough. You're going to want to research. You're going to want to see what players are playing. Are the key strikers playing? What's the game situation? Again, I'll give you that Inter Milan-Barcelona situation. Inter Milan might be quite happy to keep it compact and content tonight. We'll see how it goes. They're the home team. Maybe they try and nab a 1-0 win. But the reality is you'll be able to see the setups and how the teams are going at it in the first few minutes. They're going to play their hand. They always do in football. They're not holding stuff back. Teams are trying to win matches from the word go. So you can often see how the styles are going to clash straight away. But if you get matches like this on your filter and you see, okay, that's going to be a filter match that I'm going to look at, I'm going to do the further research, then it's really interesting. And what you're doing here is just trying to start from a point of value. We're looking for odds that seem to be bigger than they should be. Now, there could be a reason for that. There might be a reason these odds are higher. That's why you do a little bit of further research. But the point is, it's not going to give you tons of games. So let's just go to this filter itself. There's 2 matches today that this filter has thrown up. Now I can now go and look at these 2 matches in some depth and decide whether they are matches I want to trade or not. And I think that's a really important step to any key over 2.5 strategy. A lot of people overlook. If you just go and blanket trade matches because you go, well, the odds are higher than I think they should be, you're going to have a problem long term. But if you research and figure out, oh, hang on, these odds are higher than they should be, then often you will be able to get value. And I've given you some tips on how to research there, looking at things like injuries, what players are playing, weather conditions can be important. motivations. Are both teams motivated to win? What stage of the season are we at? Things like that. That's really important to find out, okay? So I want to talk about the big trap, right? Because I said I was going to mention a big trap, and you might think, I need hard numbers. Numbers matter. But blindly copying someone else's 3-goal average X trap is the trap, okay? When leagues evolve, your statistic filter dies. Ideas adapt, rigid rules crack. Okay, I like that. Ideas adapt, rigid rules crack. By understanding why a metric matters, you tweak it as the game itself changes. Okay, so always be open to changing your strategies if need be. And again, this is where that further research comes in. I really want to hammer home that point because that is the big takeaway from this video I want you to have. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a recap on this video because I know it's been a bit longer than the usual ones. Let's start with this. Momentum beats history. Okay, current attacking intent beats past score lines. No one thought Barcelona v Inter Milan was going to be 3-3 before the match. No one was predicting that. People thought maybe 1 or 2-0 Barcelona, something like that, but a cagey game nonetheless. That was kind of what I was expecting. You could see as soon as those styles clashed, match started, you could see how that was going to go. And again, that's something you can note here. Prices speak, okay? Learn the language of market moves. Study the football markets. You know, if you're serious about being a Betfair football trader, go and look at the markets, see how they adapt, evolve, and what happens to them. Styles clash, goals flash. Look for tactical mismatches. We talked about that already a lot with the Barcelona example. Game state rules. A desperate team is a trader's friend, okay? Teams that are desperate to score often do or concede. It's kind of that all or nothing thing. Now, if you watch ice hockey, you might not. At the end of an ice hockey game, if a team's losing by a goal, or maybe even 2 sometimes, they will send their goalkeeper out to play. They'll get him out and get another player on instead and leave an empty net, okay? Now, I guess the football equivalent of that is keeper going up for a corner. But in less kind of intense way than that, football teams will go for it at the end of a match if they need to score, and that could lead to them scoring or getting hit on the break, okay? And again, automation equals consistency. Let the software do the grunt work for you. You know, refine your strategy, refine your ideas, get your shortlist from betfairtradingcommunity.com, and then you're not spending hours researching each game. You can get a handful, a list of a few games to trade, and then go and look at those a little bit more in depth as you please. Here's a quick tip. Overlay weather data, okay? Windy, rainy nights can blunt momentum and create surprise unders. So factor that in. And because I've found when I factor these things in, that's when my strike rate really climbs. And I think that's something that's really important to think about here, okay? So I guess it's over to you. Are you ready to turn these ideas into a custom over 2.5 goal strategy that you can make some money with? If you are, then obviously head over to Betfair Trading Community, check out the membership. It's only half price for the first month, and also we will give you a strategy to start with. So if you want and you answer the 3 questions we give you, we'll match you with a strategy that suits your needs, and then you can be able to go and trade that and use these ideas that I've spoken about here. Do the further research on the selections, kind of figure yourself out as a trader, learn the game that way. That's an absolutely brilliant way to do it. Hit the subscribe button on this video, do all those good things. Comment as well, let me know how you've been getting on with over 2.5 goals. And if you want, I've got a spreadsheet I can share with you if you want. So if you say spreadsheet in the video, I'm happy to share that. But yeah, why not get your half price first month Betfair Trading Community membership and take advantage of the great value offered there. Build, test and tweak your own strategy without copying anyone else's, which is really key if you want to have success in Betfair trading. Thanks for watching. Remember, profitable trading isn't about one magic filter. It's about understanding the forces that create goals and letting data guide you. And we've shown you the ideas. We've shown you our software gives you the tools. Now it's your move. Hopefully I'll see you on the inside of Betfair Trading Community. If not, I still hope that you make some money trading on Betfair using the advice that I've given you in this video. Let's go get those over 2.5 goals.